What's up, beer seekers? We're back with another great installment of our Industry Insiders video interview series. And this week we are thrilled to have Anthony Finley, brand representative at Other Half Brewing Company out of Brooklyn, New York, with us, joining us. Anthony, thank you so much for being here with us.
Of course, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
So we know you started at Other Half as an intern originally, worked your way around a few different positions. Give us a little insight into your journey at Other Half and how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, so I was, at the time I was working in the beer industry already. I had some friends I had a friend in particular who owned a place called Beer Craft in Park Slope. And I met Sam Richardson in there one night. And I used to do construction. The owner knew that. And so he had told him that I used to do construction and they were finishing up the build out of the brewery. And I just got to talking with him, we chopped it up a bit that night. It was like a late night bottle share inside their shop. And then I just started going by there, helping out. They would hit me up when they needed it. I met the other owners too as well. And just stayed with them from that point. And then, Sam, gave me the offer to kind of help and apprentice me and show me about brewing while helping them while they were opening up because it's still quiet. And I just stuck with them from there. I was bartending in the city at the time at Craft Beer Bar. I got fired, and it's right around the same time that the bar was getting ready to open up because we had, they just passed it so that we could actually open up the tap room. We were waiting. We started brewing before we opened up the tap room. And so I just kind of ran the tap room, helped them with sales, helped them with deliveries, washed kegs, just whatever needed to be done. And from there, I bounced around in the brewery. I ran the bar, did deliveries, for deliveries once we actually got busier. And then I worked in the cellar, worked the centrifuge. So done a bit of everything, and then switched to doing this about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Nice.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah. Yes. So with that being a jack of all trades, were you involved in the idea for All Together at all? That's something that beer lovers everywhere are familiar with at this point, the All Together collaboration. We thought it was pretty fascinating. I mean, you had certain companies involved like Craft Peak, Stout Collective, Blue Label Packaging to help put it all together, like super organized, a website for it. Were you involved in that idea? Where did it come from? And I guess the third part to the question, what has it done for you guys in terms of, being recognized throughout the industry?
So, I mean, yes and no. A lot of the ideas that we have, it's kind of like we have an idea that we want to do something, but I would say Sam Richardson was more of definitely the person who really kind of pushed and was at the forefront of this idea. And, kind of he has places that he got kind of outline of that from, or things that he saw that he made him want to do that. And so he kind of really pushed that initiative quite a bit. So it kind of grew from there. We all wanted to do something. Most of us have worked in the hospitality industry, restaurants, and also just from being owning the brewery on their part as well. And then we already worked with most of those people already. We worked with Blue Label. We already worked with Craft Peak. So it just kind of, it was about everybody coming together as a team to put together this project. But it was definitely super helpful and great that we already worked with them. It made everything kind of come together a lot easier because we were able to go to the table with the idea we had and then, kind of present it to them. And then everybody just starts throwing around ideas and then really put it together and make it like a solid, complete package. We wanted to make it as fluid as possible and kind of as easy as it could be for people to get on and participate. So we've had, didn't know where it would go or how big it would get. And it grew a lot because I feel we made it very accessible and very easy to navigate. As far as what it's done for us, I mean, this was started not of a thing to more of do something for us, more of a thing for us to do something for the hospitality industry in particular. And a lot of places used it differently. Some places used it because they had kitchens in their staff or their bars, their tap rooms weren't as busy, so they needed to help out their staff. People used it if they had a kitchen, to be able to pay the kitchen staff to do it, or even to buy meals for people that work at the brewery and to make meals in their local communities, and all kinds of different ways that people have done it, from supporting their own to supporting their local community to bartenders, you know, those people kind of feed what we do. Not kind of, they do. You know, that's an important part of what we all do. Is so it's important for all of us to take care of them, and that was the premise behind it. We didn't know where it would go, but we figured we had some kind of platform, so it was only helpful to help push that and to do it, and for each person to do it within their own individual market and their own individual local community.
It's very cool how, I mean, something like that taking off like that must have been fun for you guys to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. We didn't know where it would go, and we're at well over 800 breweries now.
It's amazing.
That's so cool.
We got one right here from Pennsylvania. So
nice. And it's been crazy to see, like, from breweries that we are friends with already, to people that we've just met, to people that we've never met, I've seen breweries that I might have met somebody who was talking about starting a brewery, and then they'll send us a package and they've made it, and I didn't know that their brewery was open, and it's cool to see that. And just from all different countries and different places, we've had home brewers do it. I was talking to a kombucha maker that had hit us up about wanting to do it. We talked to some coffee roasters that want to do their own thing, because the guidelines aren't strict. People want to brew the beer recipe that we made, they can. If they don't want to, they can make something else. We don't. Yeah. It's up to them. However they want to do it, it's their creativity can go by however they want.
Is this something that's been done in that industry before, like a collaboration across so many breweries within the same industry? And on top of that, kind of almost piggybacking off of you for not the best of reasons, is the Weathered Souls down in San Antonio is doing the Black is Beautiful brew. I was wondering if they contacted you, reached out to see how you did it with your All Together initiative. It's very similar, but it's also for a totally different cause. So I was wondering if they had any contact with you, or you reached out to them maybe?
To the first part of the question, it definitely was. There was resilience. People have done beers in a bunch of different places to do that. I would say the resilience is probably one of the ones. Sam had mentioned it, that was part of the thing that was a little bit of a template for him, for sure. Yeah. And we've seen it with other things, but as bigger things have been happening, and I think as there's more of a connectivity amongst the beer world within the world, I think that these things are just a natural progression of things. Whenever there is something happening or a current event or something that's global, that I think, this is just the growth of it. As far as with Weathered Souls, they put together the initiative on their own.
Very cool.
And then, Marcus had reached out to Sam, and Sam wanted to do it. Sam, I don't know if he asked or whatever, but there was definitely advice exchanged for sure. And, all of us, it's like everything else in the brewing industry, everybody helps out everybody as much as they can.
Awesome. It's very cool. One thing we wanted to talk a little bit about was we've interviewed a lot of brewers that aren't in cities. So with you guys being in Brooklyn, how does that affect your distribution versus the tap room? Do you focus more on the tap room? Is that where more of your sales come from, or is it still more distribution oriented?
It's both. We've shifted to, the tap room's closed completely. We have no people coming in or out at all. We shifted to go sales immediately, which we already did obviously before, where people would come and do the Saturday releases, but now, we have beer continuously and available all the time. We were doing home deliveries as well. Once that we were able to do that, once the state and the city gave us the ability to do that. And we still distribute to the bars that can do it. We switch mostly to package for them, just so that they don't have to deal with the kegs or have to deal with selling through it faster. They can order a case, 2 cases, 3 cases, or see how they go through it a week. Just kind of make it easier for them to handle. So we've been doing that. So just trying to adjust as best as possible. We still don't have any outdoor seating, and there's talks of it, but we're playing everything by ear and just taking it day by day right now without everything's going.
Yeah. I was gonna say, go ahead, Steve.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, how are things going now with the pandemic? It seems like kind of across the nation, it's different in every state, but where are you guys in kind of a reopening phase? Is there a plan laid out going forward? What's going on? What's the latest?
I just think we're going to continue to do what we're doing right now take care of the customers as best as possible. If we don't feel it's feasible or safe enough to do anything with having customers actually consuming on premise, then that'll be delayed as things come. But yeah, right now we're part of the last phase to open up, just in general, and
Right.
even within that, the regulations and the things will change. I mean, we're seeing changes already in numbers going up, going down. So we're just kind of just going to continue to do what we're doing. The customers have been pretty happy with what we're doing, and we just try to take care of them as best as possible. So just keep doing the to-go, keep producing as much beer as we can for them, trying to do some new things. It's nice because the sales have hit like a nice balance. It's been good. So we're starting to get back into a lot of creativity and working on new recipes and new labels and new styles and new series and stuff. So it's really fun that we're getting back to that. We're excited.
Yeah.
Good.
As far as the new recipes go, I mean, what do you have a hand in coming up with those? Do you get to experiment a little while you're there?
I don't personally. It's, again, it's a lot of what we do is brainstorming ideas. Sam does it most of the time, but the brew staff will sit down and throw around ideas amongst themselves when I'm there. When Jared, who's the GM, is there as well. So there's a bunch of us that do it. But the recipes, for the most part, are created by Sam. Beyond that, and then by the head brewers at each facility as well, will put their own into it as well.
And so you mentioned each facility. I know you guys have the another big spot up in Rochester, I believe. Yeah. Is that facility as big as your Brooklyn one? I mean, are there some differences between the two?
It's not as packed. It's not as busy. I mean, Brooklyn, we've kind of filled out and maxed out on the space. There's still room for growth up there. It's a singular building on space, on the actual land. But we've been growing it. It's been growing up there. We also have a little bit more space. So we have the brewer up there, Felipe, has been working on a sour and kind of like wild project. Him along with Katie up there as well, and their staff that they have in the brew house. And so we're just, the focus is going to be is a little different up there. There's definitely similarities for sure. But, when we opened, we had to adjust to what was going on up there and take care of the customers that are up there because they have their own set of things that they want. And, there's things that we move faster in Brooklyn and things that we move faster up there. So just kind of adjusting. But yeah, that facility is not as packed for beer brewing as much beer, but they're definitely busy up there and running that space well and just keeping it going all the time.
Yeah, that's cool. So we can't let you off the hook without asking you, what is your favorite beer?
Favorite beer in general or favorite beer that we make?
That you make. Or you can give us both.
So that we make, I mean, there's a couple that I definitely, I'd say it's probably about like five to eight actually that I would say are like beers that I get excited about every time we make. And then there's ones that we've made once or twice. Mylar Bags is always one of my favorites, consistently. I love Forever Ever, which is our session IPA. It's available all the time. I love that's something I could sit down, take a 4-pack home and crush that. It's like just the right balance of hot character, it's dry enough, it drinks well, it's got a good mouthfeel, like super aromatic. The last batch of one of the last rice lagers we made, Poetry Snaps. Love that. That was like probably one of my favorite lagers that we made ever, and I just crushed that. As far as other people's beers, one of my favorite beers to drink is actually a brewery from the UK called Track. They have a beer called Sonoma, and it's really good when it's on draft, but when they have it on cask, it's like one of my favorite things.
Interesting.
On cask, huh?
Period. Yeah, that. I think what else? Lager, like one of my favorite lagers to drink. Green Bench. They make Bench Life, which is like their version of Miller High Life. I mean, I love Miller High Life too, but I like drinking that whenever I get a chance to.
Very cool.
Love that. Those are like beers. Those are two beers that I could like just drink all the time.
Were you the one you mentioned in the UK? Have you been over to that brewery, or you just found somewhere to get it here?
Yeah, for sure. I had met the guys a couple years ago at a festival and tried some of their beers, and I was like definitely thought they were dope. And they were really nice guys. Like everything about them was good. And then, you know, like just going over there repeatedly over time and just seeing their growth. And, you know, I had talked to Sam about it, and Sam met them, and we finally put together. We did a collaboration with them over there. They came over here and did a collaboration as well.
That's really cool.
As a brand rep, do they have you like send you out and you know, you do a little bit of traveling?
Yeah, I do quite a bit of traveling. It's part of what I deal with. It's just I deal with a lot of the events out of town, and you know, if we get invited to a festival, I you know, either I'll get the invite, they'll get the invite, and then from there we'll start setting up events in another city, just so that there's stuff outside of there and the customers have another chance to try the beer outside of there if they can't make it to the festival, and also just to support. It's kind of cool to go and support the local businesses within each city. Just beyond the festival.
Definitely.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask one more beer question. Everyone always yells at me for rushing through the summer, but I love fall beers. Do you guys have any good fall beers that are coming out? Probably like late August or early September?
We usually don't do like much seasons. Like everything that we make, we do all the time. I mean, the IPAs obviously are always on rotation. We've been doing imperial stouts all summer so far as well.
Nice.
Lager is the same thing. Last year I would say that probably the only beer that I could say was probably seasonal was we did a pumpkin spice crunchy. So our crunchy series.
There you go.
Ooh.
Okay.
It was kind of fun. It was always like, you know, that's like the cardinal sin in a lot of craft breweries to do a pumpkin beer. And it was like a thing that all of us, and since like the brewery opened, would go back and forth about it. And Sam was just like, fuck it, like let's make this pumpkin.
Yeah.
Did it, and it came out dope. The beer came out fire.
It's
I love
usually a
pumpkin
popular
beers. I'm like a sucker for pumpkin beers. I don't care what nobody says.
They're hard.
I'm with you. 100%. See,
I
I
think
actually
we're all
didn't.
probably with you.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was such a problem.
Like it's a tab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For brewers. So.
Yeah, it's a gimmicky one, but it's a popular gimmick.
Well, I'm into it. So.
It is, and I like it. I think it's fun, and I mean, I think that's kind of what's going on a lot right now. Is that just people are, you know, there's a time and a place where I think tradition is very important. I think that brewers should always know about traditions and be able to brew traditional beers. But I think it's also important, you know, depending on who you are, to want to have fun and do fun things with the beer and create crazy things. And, you know, to be able to create a beer that tastes like pumpkin pie or like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or like whatever it be, you know, like a strawberry shake. It's dope. It's amazing. You know, if you can't execute things well, I mean, and that doesn't matter what kind of beer you're making. You're making lagers. If you can't make it well, then it doesn't matter. But I think it's important for people to have fun and create these things. Everybody's not going to like them. Everything's not for everybody on either side. And for me, like, I've been bartending for well over a decade, even before working at the brewery. And, you know, you see people's tastes are so different and the things that they get into and the things that they like. And, you know, people say, you know, an approachable beer, and then you give them like a 13% imperial stout and they love it. And it's just like, all right, well, I guess it's not just lagers that are approachable beer.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny you say that actually, because one of the past interviews we had done, he was as a brewery called Bog Iron here in Massachusetts. He was telling us stories about Untapped and how sometimes people go on there and just like it was like a experimental beer, and somebody went on knowing it was an experimental beer and complaining about it. It's like everybody's got such different tastes. Like you can't. I'm not great at judging porter because I'm not a big porter guy. So that's always the hard part about going online. You see reviews of beers everywhere.
Those are the best reviews, though. It's like, I hate sours, and then they're drinking a sour beer.
Right.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
Like, okay, well,
yeah, then we probably did a good job with it.
For the other ones where people are like, oh, I love this beer, 2.5. It's like, all right, well, I don't have it. Yeah.
Makes you wonder what they give beers that they really like.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's a 5 if I really like this?
Yeah, I was going to say, we've had people on in past interviews that, have started up their own like seltzer lines, right? And it's kind of just like following the trends. That's kind of what people are doing these days.
Yeah, and the other thing is, a lot of people don't realize if that's what their customers want, then you part of again, depending on what you start a brewery for and where you are and what you want to do. But if you're starting a business and you want to make a business, part of that business, I mean, obviously you should be doing it for love and that you really appreciate what you're doing and all the other things. But part of it also is to make what the customers want. We have actually, yeah, Sam just did an interview and he was talking about it, and we always laugh about it because we make a West Coast style IPA, and people are like, oh man, I didn't know they could make these, and it's like, oh, this is a surprise that you guys made this. And it's like we started with all the beers were basically West Coast style IPAs, given the water profile, malt bill, yeast. They were hot, a little higher and a little more intense than some of the stereotypical West Coast style IPAs, but that's what we made. Our core beer, other half IPA, was like Cascade Chinook, Centennial, Simcoe, and I think Columbus. So it was just all like those American like resiny hops.
Right.
It's just that's people are going to do that when you're on something, and people will say, oh, I can't believe they did a seltzer thing. Like, if it works for them, if they're customer, if you got 1,000 customers coming through every week and 300, 400 of them every week are like, all right, when are you guys going to make a seltzer? You have the option not to make it, but if you want to experiment, you should experiment with it.
For sure. Yeah.
You a seltzer guy?
I like the hard seltzers, but I like some of the breweries that are doing them now because they're doing them with natural sugars. I don't like the bigger brand ones because I don't like the artificial sugars. I can taste it cuts through everything for me, and I don't enjoy the finish on it. But there's a bunch of people that have done some really fun ones that I've enjoyed now, and I've had friends that are brewers that have like pilot systems, just make pilot batches on them, and they've been fire also. So
cool.
Do you guys have like regulars per se that would come by? Because I know we talked to a lot of brewers that are smaller, so they're in small towns, and they know that you said people ask about seltzers and things like that. Is there people that that come back time after time, or being in the larger city, larger environment, is it just kind of people stop by when they're in the area or to try something different?
It's everything. We have a ton of regulars. We have a ton of regulars that are from the neighborhood, that are from the city, all over the city, different boroughs. We have regulars that come in from Jersey, because for people that live in Jersey, I mean, especially right now with everything that's going on and traffic's reduced, they're coming in even more because they can get in and out of the city in 30 minutes. They can get to the brewery faster than some people can get that live in the city. So we have regulars from all over the place, but we have new people that come in. We have people that come in semi-regularly. It's just a constant thing for us with everybody and everything. But we definitely have a lot of regulars. I mean, it's people that I've known from the tap room for 6 years that have been coming in nonstop since, and a lot of them. So.
Well, Anthony, before we let you get going, can you tell people where they can find Other Half, like distribution range, and then where they can get updates and just check out what the latest news and stuff is for Other Half?
Yeah, we are distributed in New York State, but it's all self-distro. So in New York City, you can buy us at the brewery, and then there's bars that have it. We don't have a list, unfortunately, of all the bars that we have, but you can check out a lot of the better beer bars. Even some of the restaurants are carrying stuff. Same thing upstate. It's mostly from the brewery, but there are places around that carry it also. We do drops occasionally at other places. So in downtown Crown, which is, I can't remember, I believe they're Maryland. We do stuff every once in a while. We do drops at other random places as well. We post all that stuff, and you can find all of it on the Instagram, on the website. And then, that has the delivery days that we have, and pretty much most of the information that you need for the beer is on there.
Awesome. Well, listen, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight and chatting with us. So subscribe to our YouTube channel for everyone to get our latest videos. Check out Other Half at otherhalfbrewing.com. Again, like you said, follow them on social media to get all the latest brewery updates. Check out our website, BeerSighted.com, for more videos, for blogs, for all of our content. Follow us again on social media. And Anthony, again, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us tonight.
Of course, thank you guys very much for having us, having me, and having the brewery. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you showing us the love. And thank you guys very much.
It was great.
Always.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Thanks, Anthony. Cheers.
Cool, man. Cheers. You guys take care.